in 8th grade, I went to my friend Shannon's house, and we got to up to her room, and there were 2 huge bags from Abercrombie on her bed, like brand new clothes. Abercrombie's the coolest store. I was so jealous. I got home. I was like, Mom, Shannon's mom went shopping, and she had 2 bags of Abercrombie clothes on her bed. And then I was like, oh my God, do you want something from Abercrombie? And I was like, yes. And she was like, okay. So the next day I get home from school, and I was like, go check your room. I went up there. There was an Abercrombie job application on my bed. I was like, Mom, I am 14 years old. I cannot work. And she's like, no. Look under your pillow. There's a worker's permit. There's a worker's permit.
I should probably actually have taken the sip of tea before I hit start, but there, America got to hear me drink tea. You just heard comedian Bridget McGuire. She is our guest today, right now, on the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast, and I'm your host, Shelly Colman. Hello, Bridget McGuire.
Hello, Shelly Colman. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I bought my lottery tickets today, so by this time tomorrow, I'll be living on the Amalfi Coast.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I got the plans already. The part about winning, that's out of my hands, but still.
Yeah. You've taken the first step.
I have. Now, all they have to do, well, it seems so simple. All they have to do is pick the right numbers, and, well, again, it's out of my hands. So, Bridget McGuire, you have been on WGN News in Chicago.
Yes.
And an assortment of podcasts and things. So thank you very much for taking some time to chat with me here on the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast, because you are, dare I say, of a certain age.
I am.
Yeah.
Certain age.
Yeah. You were a child of the 70s? 80s?
80s. I was born in 82. So I'm 43. So when I first met Carol, I was 40, and I said, can I do the show? And I'll just be your perimenopause portion. And she said, okay.
There are actually a couple of women in the group, as it were, who aren't quite old yet. I'm definitely old. I'm definitely in the old category. I've been the last couple of weeks, I've been staring at my computer trying to figure out what the hell to do about Medicare. And if you know anything about that, we're going to talk about it offline. So you're a Chicago gal, and that's very cool.
Yeah.
I went to Northwestern, so I spent some time in
wow.
Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And I was just there last weekend for a festival called Funny is Female.
Oh, yeah.
So,
with Angie McMahon.
yeah,
Did she
yeah,
run?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I saw that.
And
yeah.
that was in
I
it
know
was in
Angie.
Oak Park,
Yeah.
an area that I honestly had never been to before. But you know what? You could take a bus, you can take a train, I can get there.
You know, it's funny because in some ways I feel like there's some similarities between Evanston and Oak Park.
Really?
Yeah, just, they're both right outside the city.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't feel totally suburban. There's still a city feel to it. I always kind of felt that they had some similarities. I mean, obviously, Evanston, you're right on the water. Oak Park is.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm sure no one from Evanston probably would be happy with that statement.
Well,
But-
I'll just have to put a trigger warning at the beginning of on the podcast to let anyone from Evanston know that we're going to be dissing you.
Yes, and they call Evanston Heavenston, right?
Who calls it that?
I think that's what it was originally called.
Really?
That might be a Google for later, but yes, I believe. Yeah, Heavenston.
Not while I was there, it wasn't.
I love that.
Well-
I love them both. I love both neighborhoods.
But that's not where you're from, though. You're from further southwest, right?
Yes, I grew up in LaGrange, which is closer to Oak Park. Well, I grew up in Western Springs, which is the town over. They just mashed together. But my parents are Southsiders, and then we moved to the burbs. But I had some cousins that went north and grew up in Evanston.
And so your folks, Bridget McGuire, I'm guessing Irish background?
No, I'm Italian. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, Irish.
We married well.
Yeah. So yeah, Irish background. I grew up in the burbs, and then I went to the University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois, and then after college, I moved to the city and was there until I was 40, and then I moved here to New York.
And that's where you got started in comedy, obviously in Chicago.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. Were you into improv or was it straight to stand up?
Actually started with storytelling.
Really?
Yeah, and it came out of nowhere. I took a writing class at Second City called Writing the Humorous Memoir,
Mhm.
and the reason I even took the class is because I it's, like, so cliché, but I had a bad breakup,
Yeah.
and I was kind of over the bar scene. I was in my early 30s, and I just, obviously I was sad. It was winter,
Yeah.
so depressed.
Winter, sad Chicago. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
combo.
dark.
Those 3 to go together.
And I just had 2 friends that always said that I think, like, all my friends are very, very funny, but, 2 of them were always like, You should write your stories down, your dating stories."
Nice.
And so then, I was single, and so I Googled how to write a funny book. They're like, "You should make a book, and you should write a book." And so this class came up, and after the class, we had a graduation storytelling event where
Performance
we
kinda
could
thing?
invite, yeah, family and
Yeah.
friends, and still to this day, I think it is definitely in my top 5 of ever being on stage, favorites of a.
Well, it is nice to have the audience be there for you specifically, you know?
Oh, right,
When
yeah,
mom is there, she's probably gonna laugh, she's probably gonna applaud.
totally, and the story, though, I think because I was kind of relaxed after I started telling the story, it was so memorized, but then
Mhm.
since I knew people are in the audience, I kinda just had these, like, one-off things that I said,
Right.
and afterwards,
Right.
my teacher was like, "Have you been doing stand-up?" And I was like, "No." "What?" And I was like, "No." And then, I went and told that story at another storytelling show and kinda did that for about a year.
I like how your storytelling teacher asked you, "Have you been doing stand-up?" Like, "Are you on drugs?"
Yeah, yeah.
That's what "Have you been doing heroin?" "No, no, I'm just
No.
funny."
I just knew that my friends would laugh at that, but I didn't know
Yes,
everyone in the
exactly.
room would laugh at it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I did storytelling, for about a year, but I was curious about stand-up.
Mhm.
Sometimes I would go to some storytelling shows and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, these stories are so touching and they're so eloquently said." Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about overflowing a toilet. I just oh, and I don't even like potty humor, but it's just such a good story. So,
Yeah.
you know and so then I was like, "Maybe I should try," like, and I think after one show, this woman was like, "Are you at the Laugh Factory? Where can we see you again?" And I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so then I had a friend from college that was always posting about his shows on Facebook, like, "Come to the Laugh Factory." So I messaged him and he just gave me some advice on, like, what mics to take and, kind of started that way.
Well, the reason I asked about improv is because Chicago is so known for, Second City and, um, of course, now I can't think of any of the other ones, but it's very well known for improv. I mean, Stephen Colbert came out of there.
Oh, yeah.
All of those Northwestern people got funneled
Yes.
into the
Yes.
improv scene there and then came here and got on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
I'm not bitter. It's just that my entire graduating class was on Saturday Night Live, not me. Anyway, but that didn't have any appeal for you, and I say good. Good for you.
I don't know why. One of my dad's cousins and her husband were huge into Second City and are
Oh.
actors in the '70s and '80s, and, you know, um, Nancy, his cousin, would be like, "Oh, you should take a class," like, when I was in my 20s and stuff, and I was like, "Nah." I was focused on going to the bars. I was like, "No," I was like, "I would never." Oh, I don't it's really didn't, like, ever imagine to be doing this in my life.
Yeah,
It's, like, the
yeah,
best, most unexpected thing that's ever happened to me.
excellent. But
Yeah.
what did you study in school?
Oh, I don't know. I literally I think junior year, I'm like, "What do I have the most of?" It's
Uh-huh,
funny, I wanted to do journalism originally,
right.
but I also really wanted to study abroad first semester junior year, and if I went into journalism, I would have to stay in Champaign, and I coulda
Right.
studied, like, second semester, but I really wanted to go to first, and so I was like, "Well, I'll just switch my major." So I did speech communications, um,
Ah,
where a lot of people went to law school after. It's a lot of speech classes, and, I guess it somehow does help with speaking on stage, but, it was a lot of papers, a lot of giving speeches, but I
great.
didn't wanna be a lawyer or anything.
So where did you end up going for your term abroad?
I went to Verona, Italy.
Ah,
I know.
oh, my heart.
It is the
My
best. Yeah.
I have a friend from college who lives there. He was born and raised in Verona, and he lives in a UNESCO World Heritage Site villa not too far from there, and I have never had the opportunity to go, and I
Oh my god, you gotta
it just
go.
kills me.
You gotta
I would
go.
love to. Well, if I could get there on charm, I would certainly do that, but it is, money, big problem for me. Anyway, so you spent some time in Verona, and then you came back and finished school and said, "I need a job." What'd you do?
Yeah, I've had so many jobs. I My first job, I was an executive assistant, and I loved that job, actually. I was there for, like, almost 2 years, and then and it's funny because now my day job is actually in somewhat of the same field, but I took a really random path. I
Hmm,
left that job, and I went to an art school where I was doing admissions, for the American Academy of Art,
wow.
which was totally bizarre, but I met funniest women that I worked with were hilarious.
Uh-huh.
We had to wear it was like, this is the early 2000s, and they were really strict on the dress code of what we wore, which was
Really?
funny because we were going to an art school, talking to kids that had, like, purple hair and, like,
Yeah, I was
piercings.
gonna say, I mean, it seems like the dress code would require a beret and
Yeah,
cigarette holder or
no,
something.
we had to wear pantyhose.
Oh.
And one day, it was August in Chicago, so hot, and I had on,
Mm,
capris that kinda went to, like, my ankle, and then I
right,
slides or something, or heels with them because it was fancy for, it was like most people were kind of getting into business casual all the time then, and this was even
right.
I feel it was like almost suits. And I remember the vice president of the school, she was the one that really enforced that, and she was like, "Bridget, you don't have nylons on." And I'm like, "Oh my god." So I had to go down
Wait
to
a second, hang on a second. You had pants on, though, and they
I
wanted you to wear nylons under the pants?
capris that showed my skin between my, like, it wasn't a sandal.
Mid-calf?
Not like it was about mid-calf, not my whole
Yeah,
leg. It wasn't shorts.
right,
It
right,
was mid-calf capris. And
right.
so I remember I went down to 7-Eleven and all they had were white pantyhose. So I was like, "You know what?" So I looked like Peter Pan. I was, like, floating around the office. And I was like, "It is, like, 104 outside, and I'm so sure I'm wearing white tights underneath." So then I actually went back to grad school and got my master's in social work.
Oh, wow.
Yes, which I, not using. Uh, and then that was right during the recession, and I couldn't find a job. I would have stayed in that field, but there were no jobs. And, then I went to a company that sponsored international students to work in the US,
Mhm.
which was really cool. I, like, had all these huge bills, and, it didn't pay a lot, it wasn't we're sponsoring kids to come here, it wasn't some huge corporation, it was really cool.
Right.
Again, of all of my jobs, I've always just loved the people that I've worked with and have made really good friends. And then the next job I went to, one of my good friends was working at Groupon, and Groupon started in Chicago, and it was, like, the hot new thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I got into sales from there, and then I was at Groupon for a couple years, and then I went to Time Inc., which is no longer, but they owned
Right.
Time, People, and all those stuff, and then I went to Rodale, which is actually owned by the company Hearst that I work now. So I've been in my field of what I've been doing for 15 years, but the
Yeah.
first, so many years out of college, like, I bounced around, I didn't know.
So the journalism actually sort of comes back around with you working for the magazines, right?
I guess, well, I'm on the sales side, but I have written a
Oh,
couple, I've written for prevention and women's health, about I have OCD, which is what my solo
yes.
show's about. So, I've
Yes.
written
Now
for that.
I read those articles
Oh, you
and,
did?
yeah, well, I gotta know who I'm talking to. Um,
You did your
so
best. Right.
I like to think of it as stalking, but, whatever. So then that brings us to the subject of your solo show, which is something that many of our guests on the podcast have in common. I don't know what it is about comics now, but a lot of comics are I guess shifting a little bit to the side. That's how I think of it, and from doing just stand up to doing a solo show.
Yeah.
And I always ask, well, 2 questions. What prompted you to do that, and what's the difference for you
Number
between just
yeah.
stand up and solo show?
I think the prompt is that I started doing storytelling.
Right.
So I think I learned a little bit differently of stand I don't know. In some ways I enjoy storytelling more,
Mhm.
but I love when they're funny. I don't know. So I feel that I've always kind of had my foot in storytelling and a foot in stand up. When I think of bits or I write bits, it's like they're so wordy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm always a story.
Right.
And so I think what prompted me and why is because I originally started off writing stories in that class in
Mhm.
17 at Second City. And so I just loved it. And then I'm a huge fan of storytelling comics.
Mhm.
Like I love uh
Mike
Hannah,
Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia, Alex
Right.
Edelman,
Uh-huh.
Greg Goldman's latest show was amazing. So that's always been my favorite type of comedy. I love when they tell a full story. And
Right.
so I had been thinking about it and what I would talk about, and my OCD stories are, they're nuts, but they're they're funny, and there's also
Mhm.
there's a learning piece to it. So, it's funny. Actually, when I wrote that article for prevention, I wrote it because, well, I started writing because someone was like, you really have to be published. It's really will look good if you have a byline or something. And
Right.
I writing all these different things, just trying to get my name out there for writing. And so I was like, well, maybe someone at work would be interested. And I'm like, what do I have experience in? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you have this OCD story. So I wrote I pitched it to the editors at Prevention, and they were like, yeah, we'd love for you to write about this. So, because I got help during the pandemic, I went to outpatient
Mhm.
treatment, and I selfishly did it to have a byline. And I didn't realize how many people would be touched by it. Actually was very nice.
Yeah.
I had people reach out saying, "I think I've struggled with this," or maybe not even OCD, but just, "This has made me realize I should get back to therapy," or I've this has given me a step to make a phone call to go even talk to someone," or a few people reached out saying, "I'm seeing symptoms of my kids doing this, do
Oh,
you
wow.
yeah, I had 2, like, complete strangers email me. I guess you can just Google my name and find my Gmail account, saying, like, their son or daughter or they are struggling, and do I have anything they recommend? And I'm like, "Oh, these are, places you could reach out to." Obviously, I'm
Right.
not a doctor. I was like, "Well, maybe." So I kind of had been thinking, maybe I did a whole thing because I had some jokes about having OCD. And
Mhm.
then I was like, "It'd be cool to tell that story, but I don't even know where to begin." But I had looked up the Barrow Group, which is where, we can talk about stalking, but I just knew Mike Birbiglia had talked about the Barrow Group, and Seth
Right.
Barish is his director, and so I was like, "Oh, I wonder if they teach a class," because I had this idea of different things that have happened, but I didn't really know how. I was like, "How do I structure this?" So
Mhm.
I took a solo show workshop at the Barrow Group. It was June of 2024, and I did a 2-day, like, Saturday, Sunday, and, it really taught the structure, gave you really I kinda figured out how I was gonna do it, and then really liked the teacher, and I asked if she would be open to doing one-on-one coaching with me, because
Mhm.
accountability. I don't know if you feel this way, but, like, I need a deadline to get stuff done.
I need a cattle prod. I just
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing it. Because then I turn into the five-year-old version of myself, like, "No, I'm not. You're not the boss of me. You can't make me," which is
Okay.
ridiculous because I'm the one trying to make me, you know?
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. You're like, I'm my own. Yes. But so
Yeah.
with her, we work together on whatever. And she's such a great director too, because she teaches there. She's an actress. She's also written a solo show. She's a producer. She's in that whole
Mhm.
world. So when I'm like, I wrote all my things, and she'd be like, okay, that's a really funny tidbit, but it doesn't further the storyline at all. Like, people are gonna get lost there. She just was great. And also I met with her consistently from August of 2024, weekly till December, and then I was like, "Okay, I have this show,"
Wow.
and I just set a date, and I'm like, "Let's do a run through in January at the Barrow Group," just, like, rented a room there on a Friday night just to have people do it, and then I was like, "Okay, now I'm gonna do it in Chicago." I did it at Second City.
Right.
I did 3 shows there over a weekend, and then I came back to New York and did it once in June, Then I did it again in Chicago at Zany's,
Mhm.
Rosemont, and then I did it, I was in a festival here, the Evolution Festival in September, and then
Wow.
my goal is to take it to Fringe in August.
Oh,
Yeah.
to Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you have we talked earlier, this episode is gonna be up on Monday, the, next Monday in November, whatever that may be. So it's you have a performance before that. You have a performance
I
this coming
do,
Friday,
yeah.
which is the 8th?
It's the 8th, but
Okay,
I'm
and is
planning
that part of New York Comedy Festival?
No, it's part of Gotham Storytelling Festival.
Ah, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
um,
Okay.
so
So, I'm still I'm still trying to work out I guess it's different for everybody, of course, because, everything's different for everybody. But the difference for you between storytelling and stand up, is it more about needing to get the laugh versus not getting needing to get the laugh?
yeah, I guess, well, I think when people know it's a storytelling show, they know that you're not someone's telling you a story, it's a funny story, you're not
Yeah.
expecting, but there
Uh-huh.
is, it's very funny, and tooting my own horn, but, like,
Yeah,
there
of course.
but, like, I think some people would think that's pure stand-up, but
Mhm.
there's a whole story. It
Mm,
goes through my life, with OCD, eventually
right,
getting help, and then how I live with it. So,
right.
it's not just, like, one-off. There is a whole plot, like, a through line. So, I don't know why. I think I like having the full story, to have, like, a bow at the end of it, kind of.
Right, okay. Do you do any acting? Like, I was gonna describe what I mean by acting. Acting, like in plays and TV and stuff like that.
No, I don't do any acting. I did do, it was really fun. A friend of mine who's also in comedy, but also in production and stuff, she was working with this jewelry company, and the owner told her staff that they were doing this web series, which they did, where
Okay,
they're going to have different customers come in and shoot them, talking to them, and then kind of do the whole office thing where they talk on the side and stuff like that.
right.
And they thought that all the customers were just real people, but we were all fake. So we all had a storyline to tell. So that was my only acting, and it was really fun, but I was really bad at forgetting that my name was not Bridget. Like,
Oh.
'cause yeah, some of the people that she had pulled for that were improv, were more in, like, sketch and stuff.
Right,
I think I was the only
right.
I think some people do stand up, but I think they had more of a background than I did. So, but no, but I'm not an actress. I've never acted.
Well, I think there's a lot of overlap there too. I mean, I see overlap between stand up and storytelling, and I also see overlap between storytelling and acting. You just have to remember what your character's name is,
Right,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Not Heather, it's Bridget.
No.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I do feel like my solo show can be done anywhere. It could be done in a
Right.
club, it can be done I have 2 quick videos, but, like, it's not a huge whatever, but I do think it borders on when people look it up. It could be more in theater than like, it
Yeah.
kind of be it's not straight stand up, so
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you have a preference between the two?
If would I rather be at a theater or a club?
No, no, no. Would you rather be doing storytelling or stand up?
Oh, well, right now I like doing both,
Oh, okay.
you
That's
know?
the right answer.
Yeah. One of my friends, he's a comic, and he saw it, and he was like, "Why aren't you doing all these bits?" And I'm like, "Well, because it's an hour show." And he's like, "Yeah, but why aren't you cutting this up?" And so I have been trying that. I guess some of them are such crazy stories that I'm like, "Oh, how much background?"
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I had been doing a couple, and I did one last Saturday, and it killed. So I was like, "Okay, I just have to get them on board with how crazy I am." And
I think if you go onto a stage in a comedy club or in a comedy show, the audience is pretty much going to expect some nuttiness.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so many comics have talk about depression or anxiety or whatever. I think
Right.
OCD perfectly welcome. Come on up, join the
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of comics that I think that have OCD, or I've heard them talk about it.
I have a friend named Dean Masello who I used to host a show with here. He lives in Ohio now, and he is the first person I ever heard talk at length about having OCD. And in fact, he also put together a solo show, but his involved a lot of sounds and like overdubs. It's kind of hard to describe because he was kind of playing for the audience what happens inside his head.
Oh, interesting.
And there's different types of OCD, of course. You've talked about yours being intrusive thoughts that make you do things that are not necessarily dangerous, but more about how you have intrusive thoughts about maybe you are in danger or you're causing
Yes.
danger.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's the one story about did you kill your friend's boyfriend? That is that is brilliant.
Well,
Um,
that's the one I actually just told, but I
yeah,
had to give them a little bit of what I was diagnosed with and
right,
lead them up to that, and then I'm like, "Here's an example," and,
right.
I've thought have murdered so many people.
And for the record, you have not.
No. I mean, I'm like,
Good.
as far as I know, I
Right.
am I do not have a record of murder.
Well, you may have killed people, you just haven't been caught, therefore you have no record. But
Right,
no,
right.
no,
No, I know.
for clarity.
Yeah, the amount of times I've Googled myself to be like, "Could I have?" Or I think I remember reading something when I was younger and some guy supposedly murdered his family while he was sleepwalking.
Oh my.
That just really and I sleepwalk as a kid. I sleepwalk a lot, so I was, just like,
Oh, well, that must have been fuel for the fire.
yeah.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of things were yeah. I was a really but I anxious kid, like, I was always worried. I quit Girl Scouts early because I just was like, "My mom will never she'll forget me and I'll live here forever."
Oh, man, I'll
And
be a
she'd be
Girl
like,
Scout forever.
"Yeah, yeah, I didn't
Yeesh.
want
Yeah, I can understand wanting to quit, sure.
No, I think I was in brownies and then I never even advanced because I was just even though it looked fun and I had fun in it, I just
Yeah,
was like, "She's not gonna come and she's gonna forget me," and my mom would say, "I'll be there," and she wasn't even like some kids' moms would be like 2 hours late all the time. They're like, "Oh, where
yeah,
is she?" And I would be so anxious that it wasn't worth it to me. So, like, I think there's a lot of things like that I
yeah,
had a lot of stuff like that growing up,
yeah,
and then it just, manifests in other things as you get older and
yeah. Wow, wow, but you're able to live
yeah,
with it
no
now?
yeah, no, I still have it. Like,
Yeah,
it'll never go away, but
right.
I since I did the outpatient treatment and I see my therapist, like, every other week now.
Mhm.
And then if there's something really, going on or something, then we'll do every week, but right now it's just every other week. Um, I know what to do when I start to really freak out. And a lot of times too, OCD's funny because it will try to protect you from what's really going on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By putting something into your head that's not
Yeah, which
real.
is like a horrible thought, but it's not really
Wow.
happening. So it's like I'd rather actually worry about, "Oh my god, I forgot to turn off the curling iron and my house is burnt down," then, I'm having an issue with my friend or my
Uh-huh,
family or things at
yeah,
work aren't good or whatever it might be. It's like, this
right.
kinda helps you we'll focus on this fake problem so you don't have to face the real problem. So when I feel like my OCD is really bad, my therapist will be like, "Okay, what's really going on?"
Yeah,
And kinda be and I'll be like, "Nothing," and then I'll be like, "Well, actually, this has been bothering." You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And now I see it. And
Mhm,
also certain things just might cause it to flare up. But a lot of times now I can have a thought that's like, and I'll be like, whatever. And I just keep going before where
yeah.
it would like really get me worked up.
Well, that's cool. It really sounds like you've got a handle on it. Obviously, like you said, it doesn't go away, but it's not debilitating anymore.
No, I used to take a picture of everything in my house before I left. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't do that. So, I mean,
Good.
and it didn't take that much time, but it's
Still.
not, most people don't take, I mean, people check to make sure things are off, but they don't.
Right.
I remember I was babysitting once and the little girl had I think I showed her a picture on my phone, and then she started going through, and she's like, "Why do you have all these pictures of washer and dryers?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in the market for a new one," but it was just my wa
Exactly.
and I'd, like, take, like, 9,000,000, like, get behind pictures, but
Oh, goodness. To make sure things were plugged in or not plugged in, whatever they were
just
supposed to
make
be, they
sure
would
that
be
there wasn't a
safe.
fire, that I wouldn't yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Man, I'm very glad that you've got a handle on it because It sounds like something that you just would. I mean, how do you leave the house when you're dealing with that inside your
I
head?
know, and if I mean, I feel like I do not my case is not severe. I mean,
Right,
obviously, I went to outpatient treatment and stuff, but there's people that have it really bad that, like, won't leave their room. There's a
right,
girl that I follow on Instagram that talked about, like, she wouldn't leave her bedroom because she was so afraid that if she went out the front door and crossed some line, that something would happen to her family, that she would literally climb out of her bedroom window. Her bedroom was on the first floor. So I don't like that I have it, but I'm grateful that I mean, it could be worse. And it
yeah,
could be so everything could be worse. So,
yeah,
it's just my
yeah.
cross.
And obviously the work that you're doing with your show and with the articles that you write and stuff is helping people. Is like you
Right.
said, there are people who are reading that and seeing it and going, okay, maybe I can get help.
And,
Maybe I can do
honestly
something.
too, also the biggest one of my biggest helps is comedy.
Right.
You get on stage and there's been times on stage where, yeah, I have something a little bit in the back of my head, but once I'm like, I am doing a job up here. So, and it's a different type of job where, if you work a desk job, sometimes you're sitting there and I could be ruminating over and
Right.
over while I'm
Yeah.
working, but I'm really like, oh my gosh, da 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 da. Where here, it's like, unless I was giving a presentation at work or something, and here you're on stage, like, if I start like, I'm like, I won't perform. And comedy has helped me so much because it makes me forget
Right.
about worries. And then I'm laughing at other comics. Being in the comedy setting
Right.
has been so, so helpful. I just remember being kind of like really having a bad whatever. It was definitely after, it was like 2022. And then I had a show and everything got put into perspective and just had a fun time
Well,
laughing
that's
with
cool.
friends.
So
Yeah.
so you moved to New York when?
It'll be 3 years in January.
Oh, wow. So it was just it was this 2025. So it's right after the pandemic.
Yeah, 2020, January
Yeah.
1st, moved in 2023. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And you started doing comedy right away? You started doing mics and
Yeah, I did a
getting on
mic that week. And the nice thing is too is that I have friends from Chicago that had moved here. A friend of mine, Edgar Sandoval, had opened for Carol on the road, and he put me in touch with her right away. So I met her within the first couple weeks of moving here, and then she
Wow.
put me on. She was teaching at QED, so she's like, "Do you want
Mm,
to come and close out or open one of her student shows?" So yes, like, and then I ran a show. So I run a show in Chicago with a good friend of mine, a comedian, Maggie DiPaolo,
mhm,
and I still run it from afar, book it and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta start a show here. This is how I'm
mhm.
gonna people.
Right.
So I got here in January. In February and March, I had 2 shows, and then we did 2 more in the summer, and I was running it with, my cousin. He doesn't really do stand-up, but he hosted and stuff,
Mhm.
and it was good. They were successful. It just, producing can be hard. And then I'm like, "Okay, I'm trying to get on shows, produce
Right.
shows," and then I have a pretty demanding day job, so I'm like, "Maybe I don't need to produce." But it was a really good way to meet other comics, to
Mhm.
get your own stage time. I always think if people are looking for stage time, like, producing a show is a great way to go.
Yeah, it is. But again, finding a venue and then getting people it's harder to get people to come than to get people to be on it because, as you know, you can't swing a cat in this city without hitting a comic. So there's always somebody who's willing to come to wherever you may be and do 5 minutes on your show. But then getting butts in seats. I was, talking to Carol Montgomery, our fearless leader, about in October, there's supposed to be a Funny Women of a Certain Age show at
Yeah.
Comedy Village in Midtown, and it was canceled because there weren't enough tickets sold. And, I mean, it's a good venue, it's a good neighborhood
Yeah.
for comedy, and it's a good show, but still, just on a Wednesday evening, a random Wednesday evening, getting people to go and sit still, going to pay money to go
Right.
and sit still and watch comedy for 90 minutes at the most, that's really hard. That's really
I know.
hard.
It is hard.
So, I I'm always inspired, I guess, by people who leave wherever they are and come to New York because I was born and raised here, so to me, it's like, yeah, so what, it's home. But people who are willing to make that leap, to take that chance to come here and add their name to the gigantic bucket of comics, but you seem to be having some success.
I mean,
You're
I I mean, I think well, first of all, I am always impressed by people that started comedy in New York because I feel like that would be very hard. I mean, yes, there's a mic on every corner, but I feel grateful to have started in Chicago.
yeah,
Even though Chicago is a very big comedy scene and a
yeah,
huge comedy town, it is smaller than the New York comedy scene
just
for sure.
fewer comics, just fewer people trying to do it.
Yeah, and there's still a ton, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
I know, yeah,
So there
millions,
was
but
more stage time in some sense to get
yeah,
on shows and stuff. I think it'd be hard to start here. Yeah, I think having how many years experience did I have when I got here? Like 5,
mhm,
so some years.
right,
Um, and then having definitely was nice I knew some comics that I had met
right.
hosting at Zanies or through other connections, and then also there were Chicago comics here too that were helpful. Um, you
So
know
is there a club in New York City where you perform more than others?
Yeah, I would say I'm at Broadway Comedy Club a lot.
Mhm. So
Broadway
you've been what we call passed at Broadway Comedy
Yes,
Club.
yes.
Yeah,
Broadway, I feel like Broadway, Greenwich, we have the same owner. Um, I occasionally do QED.
right. And how often average, how often, let's say a month do you get up and do a set? Not a mic, I mean an actual show.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe actual show? I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like every month is different.
Right.
Um,
Okay, then let me ask it this way. Have you noticed an increase since you started in times you're getting up at Broadway or at Greenwich?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
that's good because one of the things that people who aren't in comedy don't really grasp is how much time comics spend not doing comedy in order to do comedy. Do you know what I mean?
yes.
So the actual time you're on stage doing a set, I mean, when I was in Chicago, was it 2 weeks ago, I did an 8-minute set, I did a 12-minute set, I did a 15-minute set, and, but the time to get there, the time
Right.
to make the connections to people. 3 of the sets I did were part of the festival, another one was at the Lincoln Lounge, which is a place I had never been to before.
Oh, yeah, Link
And
Touch. Yeah.
but, it's the emailing and the calling and the contacting
Oh,
people
yeah.
on Instagram and all that, that it feels to me like that takes up well, that's the job, that's the
Right. Well,
actual
it's
job.
funny too, like, even with the solo show, I don't know if people think this, but I didn't get up there and just, like, burst you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I wrote this for about 4 months and then
Mhm.
practice, rehearsal, and,
Right.
yeah, a 50-minute show. It didn't just come to me. Yeah. Someone gave me good advice too, this one guy I met when I first moved here. He's like, you don't have to try and be everywhere.
Mhm.
You can, like, find places that you just wanna focus on getting in at, 'cause there's so much and the city is so big, which is
Right.
I live in Manhattan, and I know there's awesome shows in Brooklyn that I will go do, but, like, to go do a mic in Brooklyn, unless it was, like, coupled with I'm going to dinner with a friend or something,
Right.
but my office is in Manhattan, I live in Manhattan, I have a dog, I to go to Brooklyn especially during the week, it'd be like, I'm not I can't.
Let's stop for a second. You have a dog?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, what's his name? Oh, see, dogs are the best thing to me. Dogs are better than anything in the world, except maybe bears.
Do you have a dog?
I do not, which is why I'm one of those people that if I see you walking down the street with Joe, I will stop and
Will
say, "Can I
stop,
pet your dog?"
and he would, like, jump in your lap. Here.
Well,
Um,
that's
another thing, if you move to a different city alone, having a dog has been, like, the best thing in the world.
well, it's certainly a way to make friends.
Make friends and get out. I feel like when I haven't had him, I'll be like, "Oh, my steps are so low down," 'cause we'll
Oh,
go
yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
he's been just nice to have a little companion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody to sit and watch your giant TV with. Again, this is audio only, but Bridget has an enormous
It's
television behind
actually I
her.
think it's just the angle that you see. It's actually not that big.
Well, okay, it looks tremendous from here. It looks like,
No,
like
yeah.
you could watch several football games at the same time on it. Oh, by the way,
TV
Cubs
has
fan?
never seen a football game.
Are you a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan?
I like them both. My parents are from the South Side, so, like, I
Yeah.
guess technically I'm a Sox fan, I guess, but I
Mhm.
lived in Wrigley Field, and the Cubs games are fun. I like them both. In 4th grade, I my friend called me and invited me to the Cubs game, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't go, we're White Sox fans." And then my dad was like, "What'd you say? Call her back." He's like, "You are going to that game. Please leave the house." So I called back and was like, "Wait, can I still come? I didn't know that." I'm like, "I thought we're White Sox fans." He's like, "Doesn't mean you can't go to a Cub." We're not like no one's diehard in my family. I have some friends
Okay.
that are diehard Sox, diehard Cubs.
Right.
We like them both. We like just Chicago.
Okay.
There are people that really hate the other team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like Mets and Yankees, I was raised a Mets fan, and, I thought that like you, I thought that meant that I was not allowed to even say the other name of the other team in my
Yeah,
house, but it turns out nobody cared but me, so,
yeah,
alright, well,
yeah,
never mind that, never mind that. And I like the Mets because very much like the Cubs used to be, they were sort of the bad news bears, you know?
yeah, yeah,
When I was in school, I don't think the Cubs won, like, maybe an average of 12 games a year. So, that's an exaggeration, but it just made me feel like home, because I'd hear about the Mets or, "Oh, the Mets are losing. Excellent. Cubs are losing too? Fantastic. Let's get them
fantastic.
together and see who can lose first." Anyway, and, Bulls? Bears?
Oh, I love the Bulls. I had a rabbit named Pippin after Scotty growing up.
Yeah.
I grew up during the repeats, Michael Jordan, everybody. That was mid-90s. I was in grade school
Mhm.
and into high school. To be honest, like, I am not, like, a diehard.
Sports fan at all?
I like going to sporting events. It's fun when they're good, and then you get to know the players,
Yeah.
but my dad is a huge, huge sports nut.
Right.
In sophomore year, I did not make the basketball team, and I cried afterwards, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, are you" I'm like, "I don't really care, but my dad loves to watch these games." Now there's no
Oh.
reason to go. But
Oh,
he's got,
no.
6 grandkids, and they all play sports, and they're good. So he's got his yeah,
Okay, good, good.
he got
No,
his fill.
d what did your parents say when you told them you were gonna go into stand-up?
Well, I think I just took this class, and I had a lot of fun. I would send my parents and my sisters the stories that I wrote, because a
Yeah.
lot were about growing up and different funny things. Because I was more than into the writing part of it, and then
Uh-huh.
but then when I did the storytelling show, they came to it, and it's funny because that morning I was like, "Mom, can I say this to you?" It was a 10-minute story,
Mhm.
and I don't think she was paying attention. And she's I think she just was like, "Yeah, that sounds good."
Uh-huh.
And then
Right.
afterwards, she's like, "I didn't know it was gonna be funny," and I was like, "I read it to you." Right. No, they were I think they were like, "Okay," I think they were like, "Don't quit your job," you know?
Yeah.
Don't actually, I had a mic with a friend called "Don't Quit Your Day Job." It was a
Right.
great mic. It was on Mondays right at 5:30 in the Loop in Chicago, so it was like people could go straight there, get a mic out of the way, and then if they have to go or they could go on to other
Right.
mics, it was fun. My parents and my family, they have been very supportive, and they also just it's not like we grew up going to comedy shows, you
Right.
know? They liked
Right.
comedy, like, everyone liked to go to Second City occasionally and stuff, but now
Mhm.
it's a whole world of that they weren't really huge fan besides, like, big names and stuff, they weren't
Mhm.
going to watch comedy, and now it's so fun, so they love going.
Oh,
No,
good.
not even to see me, they like to just see the other people, they're like my dad's like, "You need some folks." I'm like, "You need to stop coming to" you know? These other 50 people haven't heard this before.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's not like you didn't know the story to begin with, Dad. It's
yeah,
not like
yeah.
you weren't there. Wow. So the name of your solo show is Ballet Flats for Dinner,
Yes.
which I am not going to spoil because it is a wonderful story why it's called that. And I will say that if people who are listening, you can find on YouTube, you can find some clips from it, get to sort of whet your appetite.
Yes.
And you said you're going to be doing it in next August in Scotland, but before that, when can we see it?
No, I'm working it out right now, on finalizing dates, but hoping to do it, in April or May at Soho Playhouse over a weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
like a
Okay.
little.
And you're writing a book also?
No, I mean, I've been writing a book since the day I took that class.
Okay.
So
So, yes,
yeah.
technically you're writing a book.
And then I was like, this might be better as a movie or something. So I took this amazing screenwriting retreat in Orvieto, Italy, that I highly
Uh,
recommend. It's called Pagecraft Writing. Um, and after I did the solo show, a friend of mine's brother, he's an actor, and he's like, you really need to make this into something. After
hmm.
he saw it, he's like, I see this either as a limited series or a feature. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll how do I do that? So, but I think I'm gonna start trying that. I don't think it would be like some long series. I think it could be a cool story to tell. It's funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Netflix, if you're listening, you wanna get on this,
yes,
please? Because, somebody's
Netflix,
gonna snap it up.
Hulu, Peacock. I'll find
Hulu,
whoever wants me.
sure. Anybody, anybody.
Anybody,
She's not
anybody.
proud.
Yeah. PBS is PBS still a show? Ion channel. I'll take the Ion
Anywhere,
channel.
anywhere. Comedy
Anywhere.
Central, Cartoon Network,
Yes.
whatever. HSN, QVC. We'll
Yeah.
sell something.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
make it work. All right, so where is the best place for people to find you and follow you? Website
I
or
would say
Instagram or what?
Instagram, which is Bridget McGuire Comedy.
Okay, and it's MCG. Actually, it's BRIDGET, MCGUIRE, because there are different ways to spell Bridget and different ways to spell McGuire, and goodness
Yes.
knows I had trouble finding you. Um, that's because I'm old and I don't know how things work. So Bridget McGuire Comedy on Instagram, and also again, if you want to check out the show Ballet Flats for Dinner, you can see some very cool clips of it and the interview that you did on WGN TV in Chicago,
Yeah.
all over YouTube. Bridget McGuire, thank you very much for spending some time with me.
Thanks for having me,
I hope
Shelly.
that we get to do a show together. If it's not funny when we're a certain age, then somebody can book the two of us at the same.
I hope so too.
Yeah, that'd be cool, and you don't even have to bring Joe. Although I tell you what, when I see you on the street, I will be accosting him.
That's you. Yes. If you want to babysit ever, let me know.
We'll
Not now.
talk.
You're like,
We'll
I
talk.
pet him for 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bridget McGuire, we always end this by just saying bye. So bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.